Morning, everybody. Welcome to Mary Wieden You. Glad to have you along. You're going to meet somebody new to all of you, I'll bet you. Many of you anyway, and certainly new to me, who is running for Senator Mayor, I call him Senator Mayor, running for Mayor Horhn's legislative seat in the Mississippi Senate. You'll meet Theresa Kennedy in just a few minutes here. Just a couple of news notes. First of all, I've been amused by the weather reports that, it might rain this afternoon. Of course, and it might not rain this afternoon. But anyway, so look forward to some rain because we need it, as they say. This is a Twilight Zone thing. All right. Lance, you would have been up when this was going on. I took my dog out around 5:35 this morning, and I looked up in the eastern sky, and there were these two lights up there.
Say it was Jupiter and Venus or something.
Are you sure it wasn't the space station?
Well, we had that this morning. Somebody had taken a picture of them, and I'm trying to remember which two planets. So it looked like two spaceships.
A bigger one and a littler one.
Yep,
I thought,
that was it.
Well, maybe it's the space station. Maybe it's sort of stretched out. But okay, so find out what that was. That was interesting. And by the way, I have to say congratulations to the mayor for coming to the rescue of the people at Blossom Apartments. I know it's only a 5-day break, but it's enough to help those people at least find some place else to live, and they can live in decency and in full humanity in this apartment complex. And then I'm surprised to know that the mayor is starting up a steering committee to find out what's going on with the apartments in Jackson. Apparently, this is certainly, and we've heard of other ones, Chapel Hill Apartments. What is going on in these apartments when you have absentee owners? Is that what it is? I don't know, but it's disgusting, whatever it is, and I hope to get to the bottom of it and figure it out. Absolutely do.
Venus and Jupiter.
Okay, Venus was the bigger one, maybe? Because that's the closer one to us.
I think so, yeah.
Venus and Jupiter. Well, and we're also having the Perseids, but I don't know when the Perseid meteorite I don't know when they're doing it, though. In the middle of the night? I don't know. But I thought there was the time. I'm like, what is that?
It's so hard to see it right now because the moon's so bright. Yeah.
But it was 5:35, I guess. Yeah, it was getting light out.
The Perseids, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
They're much smaller, I think, to see. So it's with that full moon we have right now, that sturgeon moon.
Sturgeon?
That's what they call it. Yeah.
Like as in the fish?
Just like the fish, yeah.
Wonder why. I don't know, but it seemed like it was full for a long time, and it was so beautiful, and I love that. Now it's like a nice little narrow strip in my kitchen floor. I was looking up at it this morning. It was pretty, but Perseids, I think they're in the middle of the night, maybe. I guess that's why. So anyway, well, onward to Theresa Kennedy, who is making, she's almost a newbie at the political game, because you did, welcome to Mary Wieden You, because you did make a run for the House. Now you're making a run for the Senate, and this is the seat held by John Horhn. It's District 26. Where is that? It's a pretty comprehensive district, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Well, first let me say thank you so much for having me here. And it is a huge district. So it encompasses the southern part of Ridgeland, a snippet of northeast Jackson, all of northwest Jackson. It actually runs on the Ridgeland side, run on the other side of 55, up Old Agency Road, all the way up to Madison. Wow. Yes, and catches the back part of Reunion. And then coming back south is up 49 all the way to Pocahontas. It catches the back part of Clinton, and then Edwards and Bolton.
What?
Yes.
Oh, isn't that weird? Because Bolton's like way over there, and you're talking about places way over here. Oh, my goodness sakes.
Yes.
That's big. That's big. So why are you doing this? Have you lost your mind?
No, I have not. I have to say this has been an exciting time for me, just getting a chance to meet all the people throughout this district and knocking on doors, getting to know about what concerns them, what are the challenges, and what has really been good for them of the last 30-something years where John Horhn served as the Senate for this seat. Why I'm doing this, a number of reasons. It's just seemed like a natural progression for me. For the last 20 years, I have been doing advocacy work. I've done a little bit of lobbying work as well.
And you have your own business.
Yes, I have my own business. I'm a consultant, and I've worked with state-based organizations. I've worked with national advocacy organizations, and I've also worked with international advocacy organization and nonprofits as well. So this work isn't new to me. Going to the Capitol and talking to folks and advocating on behalf of a lot of people who don't even know me isn't new to me. And now, instead of going to tell the legislators what to do, I guess I'll be one of them.
Be one of them. People on the other side. All right, Theresa, you told me what to do. Now we're going to tell you what to do.
Absolutely.
That'll be an interesting challenge for you because it's not an easy one. It's not exactly 24/7, but it's close. It's close to it, isn't it? In a lot of ways.
Yes, that's very true.
What was you grew up on the Gulf Coast, don't you? Do you miss the coast at all?
I get asked that every now and then.
But not during this time of the year when we start talking about the anniversary of Katrina. Where were you for that, by the way? Were you down there or up here?
I was not. I was actually at the time in South Carolina. I was sitting at my desk. I worked for the farm credit system out there called Act First. And my boss came to my desk and he was like, and I was only there for about 7 months, but he told me, hey, you talked to your parents? And this was the guy who I went to his house every Sunday for dinner with his family because I didn't know anyone in Columbia, South Carolina. And
Howard Ballou is from there, I think. But
okay.
Anyway.
Yeah. So someone I talked to all the time, and I was like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, hurricane. I was like, well, my parents have been living in Moss Point down the coast since the 60s. My parents had survived Katrina. I mean, not Katrina, but survived Camille and Frederick.
Wow.
And so I was like, it can't be that bad. Then I looked online. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. So I immediately reached out to my family. My dad was very reluctant to leave. He felt like I've survived those other two. This can't be that bad. Yeah, it took a lot of convincing to get him to leave home.
But they did.
They did. They went about an hour and a half north of Moss Point. And where they went to my nephew's mother's house, a tree fell on my parents' vehicle. So,
yeah, of all things.
Yeah, and so my brothers at the time were in Mississippi. They found their way to my parents, and they found their way back to Moss Point because my dad just knew the house had been blown away at that point. But no, we had very little damage done. Some shingles missing from the roof, and that was pretty much where we lived.
Yeah.
I did collect a lot of goods to bring with me to Mississippi at that time. And from there, I was able to get down on the Mississippi Gulf Coast coastline, like Highway 90. Mm-hmm. They had blocked it off right there by the Coliseum. I guess I could say this. I knew the guy that was at the gate. And he let me in. And so my twin was with me at that time, and we drove, and we were just blown away. We had never, ever seen the Mississippi Gulf Coast look like that.
Well, I didn't see it for quite some time. It looked like one of the movies, Planet of the Apes. It's like there used to be a civilization here. There were people here at one time, and now it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, because there were barges and boats in the middle of the highway.
Yes.
Sand had completely covered Highway 90. You couldn't even tell what was the cement and what was the beach. It just looked like something from a movie.
Yeah, it really did. It was awful. But your parents' house survived?
They survived.
Because they were east enough.
Yes, east enough. And, flooding was always an issue for us growing up. Our street where my parents lived. And so we just knew that the house had been, flooded out. But no rain. It was actually Hurricane Rita, I think, that came a couple weeks later.
Oh, wow.
That flooded my parents' house.
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Well, so you're safely up here. We don't have the Gulf, but we certainly do have the reservoir. And I hope that's not in your district, though. You're next to it, aren't you?
That's correct. We're semi-safe. We do have tornadoes up this way. But Katrina, that was the thing my cousins and them always talked about was, we don't have hurricanes all the way up here. But Katrina really impacted the entire state.
It did. It was awful. It was awful. So what you got, Lance?
Oh, I was just going to ask her. Obviously, she is a Mississippian, went to Alcorn State, got her master's there, too. You have a specialty in agricultural economics. Mm-hmm. Now, I wanted you to expand on that because that sounds like an extremely interesting field to be in, one that Mississippi, our largest economic revenue source, is agriculture.
Yep.
How will that pertain to your district and your experience in that?
So, yes, I attended Alcorn State. Ag is huge, not just for Mississippi, but this entire country, right? And it's everything. People don't even think about how some people hear ag and they automatically think of farmers and all of that, but it's so much more. It's the gas the gas we put in our car. It's the tires. It's the food we eat, which is very important to most people. Well, not everyone cares about eating. And so as it pertains to this district, though, I got an opportunity. I mentioned I work for the farm credit system. I got an opportunity to work with farmers here in Mississippi. And so it was eye-opener for me. I learned things in the classroom, but, there's only so much you can learn in the classroom.
Right.
You got to get out there and have those lived experiences. So I was able to help several farmers with not just those that had row crops, but some who had cattle, some who were, I would say, dairy farmers as well. I learned a lot about that. This district has a lot of rural areas to it. And that's going to be important to not just the economy is going to be important for those farmers to know, to have someone who can relate to what they're experiencing.
Well, we've got an agriculture committee I'm sure, in the Senate. I can't remember all those committees, but I think there is certainly in agriculture. Would you want to be on that? Should you be elected?
Absolutely. That is one of the committees that I'm interested in being a part of. And there's several committees I'm interested in being a part of, but that is definitely one of them.
By the way, you should tell people that for the special election, which this is, there are no political affiliations. It doesn't have D or R after your name. And you don't have, we had a primary already, correct? Mm-hmm. You didn't have that.
No, this one, so those special elections that had the primary, those were court mandated ones. There were about 14 of them. Yeah. And so they had primaries last week. This one is a traditional special election, I call it, where we just go directly to the general election in November.
Then I think the filing deadline is, we haven't even gotten there yet. I want to say August 21.
Yes, that's correct.
Mm-hmm. August is filing deadline. So how many people are running against you at this point? Do you know? I think maybe 4 others, but I'm not sure.
I believe there are 5.
Five
now.
More?
Yes, that are running against us. We're running to win, and we've been out here. We were the first ones out the gate to announce our candidacy for this seat, and with intention and all of that to build as much support as we could on the front end. And so we've been running now for quite some time, and we're going to run on and see what the end going to be.
Well, so who do you use to help you run this campaign? Do you have a campaign outfit or consultant or something like that? Are you doing it on your own? How's that working for you?
Well, yeah, I tried that on my own 9 years ago. That didn't turn out too well. So this time I made the investment really quick. And I say quick, but it was with much thought. And I knew that I could not do this on my own this time. So yes, I do have a campaign manager. I do have a advisory team, and it's a very diverse group of people. Some people I highly respect, people who've worked federal, congressional, down to the municipal level elections. And so, and they have a gamut of experiences that really have helped me out a whole lot.
This is costing a lot of money so far?
It is costing a lot of money.
How much have you raised?
We've raised almost $20,000. We anticipate our goal is pretty hefty. And so, people have told me, oh, this race is going to be $100,000. I was like, is it?
Maybe.
And maybe for someone else. It won't be for us. We're being very strategic about how we spend our dollars. We're being
you say we, you using the poetic we, or is there somebody else with you?
Yeah, my campaign manager and my advisory team. That's the we. Okay. They're very being very mindful of what we have in our coffers, what we have, what's been pledged, and a lot of that is follow up too. But we're being very strategic about our spending. We want to make sure that we're maximizing every dollar that we raise, and that people know that their investment in me is a good investment.
And you got to go broadcast, of course.
Absolutely.
I mean, you got to do radio and you got to do TV. You haven't gotten that far yet, or have you?
We have
worked them out
not,
yet?
but that is part of our plan. We laid out a very thorough plan of how we're going to do this race, and we have pretty much stuck to it. There may be some points where we have to pivot and things like that, but when we get there, we'll cross that bridge. But we've been doing pretty well. We've been committed to the plan, and that's what we're going to do.
You have your own business too, don't you? You still have that business? 55-20. 55. What is that?
It's an advocacy, communications, and business development business. Public relations more so than communications. So yes, I've had this business now since 2012. And it's evolved, but it's become more along the lines of advocacy. I do a lot of work with, again, state-based, national, and international advocacy orgs and nonprofits. On that business development side, I've also have been advising small businesses across the state and connecting them to resources.
Do you see an increase in business picking up in Mississippi? I mean, we hear about it in various sectors, and Amazon, and of course we've had the car dealers or the car companies and the tire company and everything. Are you seeing an increase in the development of business in Mississippi? And just recently, in the last less than a year or so, or a year, are we, from your point of view, doing well? Are we? I would hope.
Yes, I just would like to see more good jobs, and when I say good jobs, I mean well-paying jobs here in Mississippi where people can really thrive, and families and working families especially could leave a legacy for those to come. There's this thing called brain drain, and I heard about it about maybe 15 years ago. There was some legislation introduced to try to incentivize young people to stay here in Mississippi.
Right.
But recently I was at an event that Mississippi Today and J.P. Morgan Chase hosted at the Museum of Art downtown.
Yeah, where Jamie Dimon was in town.
Yes. And, they talked about the brain drain there, and I was kind of shocked that came back up. And but yeah, the numbers were staggering. The amount of young people that are leaving our state, and that's talent, right?
Absolutely.
That's tax dollars too.
And of all the states around us, they were growing and developing in the census, the 2020 census. They all added. Arkansas and Louisiana, Alabama. Here's little Mississippi, and we hadn't added. And I hope, some people say, "Oh, well, that's changed." Oh, okay. I'd like to know about that. Let's do another segment here. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got Theresa Kennedy here in the studio. She's running for Senate District 26, held at one time for 30 years by John Horhn. Of course, he's now the mayor of the capital city. So we'll be back in just a few minutes. Stay with us. What you're talking about. Here in the studio with me, one more segment now is Theresa Kennedy. She's running for Senate District 26. The state Senate District 26, and it's quite a diverse district. I mean, you go into Ridgeland, then you go way far south down to, how far south does it go? Pretty far.
Yeah, it goes down to Edwards and Bolton.
Yeah,
west of Raymond at the furthest.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing that it does that? Oh, go ahead.
I just was going to say, looking in, obviously you come from a working family, a father who spent a couple of decades plus in the shipbuilding industry, a mother that was a teacher for 40 years. When we look at workforce development, and obviously there are counties that have, areas that have less and more unemployment, what would you say would be key in, say, the area that you're going to be representing? We have one of the higher unemployment rates, and obviously there's a lot invested into the workforce and creating opportunities. Do you see anything obvious out there that could, stimulate the participation of those out there that are looking for work that maybe we're just not reaching in your district, District 26?
Good question. I was wondering, is the Continental Tire Company in that district?
No,
almost.
It's just outside.
It's right outside.
Right outside it. But yeah, that's a good question. That's one of the things I would ask about, really what the district needs in terms of jobs and economic development. What can you do, or what do you see should be done in the district to maximize all that it has?
So there's a number of things. In, like Ridgeland area, Ridgeland just passed a referendum around a temporary tax increase for its parks, to expand the park, the Freedom Ridge Park. So that'll now be a 2% increase on additional tax from hotel rooms, and then 1% increase tax on restaurants in Ridgeland. And that sportsplex that's to come is going to be a huge revenue generator for the city of Ridgeland. So that's something that's important to them. Another part of Ridgeland that actually rolls down to the Tougaloo area, there is talk and some seed money that's already been allocated to create this road through Tougaloo's campus that would open it up and give it a opportunity for economic development. And that's huge for Tougaloo College, especially because it gives them that sustainable income that they need, desperately need. And then you come on down to like Jackson area. Obviously, roads and bridges throughout the district is important to everyone, but particularly in Jackson around the infrastructure. I did have the privilege of being a part of the campaign to create the resources for infrastructure improvements to fix our roads and bridges and stabilize the water system here. But roads and bridges is what I hear a lot about in Jackson in terms of making sure people want to drive on smooth roads.
They do. And, a week or two ago, we had the new economic development, Rankin First Economic Development, and his name Garrett Wright. And the big thing is it's industrial things, not so much commercial. Mm-hmm. But the big thing that he looks for is infrastructure, and he seemed to feel that he feels Rankin is on the mark with that. So that's his county. But so you have to work on that. Out from town, would you say? I mean, you're in pretty good shape in Ridgeland, but west of there, I don't know. I can't say.
Yeah, so infrastructure again is a big thing for the entire district. But you look at areas as you come into Jackson and even getting down in the county area, down 49, that Pocahontas area. It's important for them to have good roads and bridges, and so I anticipate that would be one of the things I'll be pushing for, is making sure that we get dollars in the district to support that. Another one, I think Lance asked, was about workforce development. Yep. Broadband expansion is a huge one, making sure that every part of this district has reliable Wi-Fi. And believe it or not, there are parts of Hinds County that just does not have that.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. And it impacts not just those people at home. The quality of life for folks. It impacts.
And who wants to develop and put a business in
Yeah,
there?
what about law enforcement? By the way, next Tuesday we've got Sheriff Tyree Jones on the show, and so he's trying to do law enforcement out there. You got to have a signal. You got to be able to where people are and where his troops are. You've got to know all that. And I'm surprised that we don't have Wi-Fi throughout all of Hinds County.
Yeah, absolutely. The county that holds the state capital, that would be something that would be major for not just residents but businesses, for schools. I was at a school not long ago and out in Edwards Bolton area, and the Wi-Fi signal was just, I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait a minute.
Beautiful school too out there, and you don't have no Wi-Fi. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you have to walk to certain parts or come outside.
You're looking for a signal, right?
Yes. And so those things play a role in workforce development. And to this point, and to your point too about the infrastructure, I know that's been something, and I hate to keep harping on that, but all that is important.
Very.
Because once you provide those dollars to lay that foundation, then the businesses are more likely to come, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I know there's food security, insecurity issues that exist out in the rural areas. They want to be able to get fresh produce and not have to drive 30, 40 miles to get it. And so that's important to those areas like in Edwards and even Bolton.
We've seen Tupelo built around a $2 million new facility. And it's done great. It's a farmer's market. Nellie Neal, our garden mama, she hosted a show up there a couple of months ago for the opening. And it is amazing how many people, like you just said, want fresh stuff, and how many producers are within earshot that are growing fresh stuff.
And by the way, are there enough grocery stores out there for people? And what about health care at the western end of your district?
Yes, that's a huge concern.
Could be your district, yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge concern as well. you just never know when you'll need that emergency service, and to know that you don't have that readily available to you, or having to wait for an ambulance, 45 minutes could be very life.
Yes, for life-threatening, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. And so, those are things that totally concern citizens. And we want to try to do all we can, even if it's just a facility that's open during the day.
A clinic of some sort.
Absolutely. A clinic of some sort would be helpful to citizens. Someone they can see on a regular basis, and they're not having to go to the emergency room to see a doctor and not even see the same doctor. That's important to a lot of people.
Medicaid expansion. What do you think about that? That's been going on for years and years and years. But it'll come up again, I'm sure. What do you think?
Yes.
Do it or not?
I'm in full support of it for a number of reasons. My mother is a Medicaid recipient. She takes insulin every day. That cost for her is right now it's at a good. The cost is pretty nominal, but there's a potential that it may increase. The premiums are supposed to increase pretty soon, starting in November.
Medicare or Medicaid?
Medicare and the ACA, the Affordable Care Marketplace. Care Act Marketplace. Those premiums are going to increase pretty soon. I'm hearing as early as November when they do open enrollment again. But Medicaid expansion is more, we got a lot of Mississippians that depend on Medicaid, and it's going to harm us more than help us, I think, by not expanding it. And then there's an economic piece to it too.
Well, yeah, I think part of that is that, when you start off on Medicaid, and you can correct me if I'm wrong in this, when you start off on Medicaid, you get a whole lot of money from D.C. But then as years go by, it becomes more and more your own, the state's own responsibility. Those dollars go away. And I think that's maybe one of the big hang-ups, one of the big fears about Medicaid. Where are we going to get all the money for that alone? So.
Yeah, because Mississippi does depend on federal dollars. I think 4 to 1.
Something, yes, it's big.
It's huge. Big. And so you're right. Now, if we had taken advantage of this, and I know we can't go back, but if we had taken advantage of this, back in 2008, I think they were paying 90 cents on a dollar. We would probably be a much healthier state. And so you think about that, to all that time that's passed, and what that's done though has pushed more money to other states for them to take care of their constituents and their residents. And so at the end of the day, I think Medicaid expansion would benefit Mississippi more than hurt us. You talk about the cost. Well, the cost probably be made up because there are more doctors moving to Mississippi, right?
That would happen.
We had more services to offer. You wouldn't have hospitals on the brink of closure in those rural areas. I can't imagine having to drive 45 minutes one way to a doctor. And I may already haven't. That's a whole day almost.
Now then, there's always telehealth.
That's telehealth.
You got to have telehealth. I don't know what our situation is in Mississippi. Vastly, I know we have it. I don't know if it's how widespread it is, but we would need it. But more so, like in the Delta than down here. You're pretty cosmopolitan. This district, I would have to say, is pretty cosmopolitan. You got farmland and stuff on your way west of town. And you've got land that could be developed maybe, for some more big projects out there that you could take a part in finding those companies, which would be exciting. But mostly, and one of the things I read about you, you had said, somebody had said about you, it's written about you, believes strong and healthy people breed strong and healthy communities, and strong and healthy communities breed strong and healthy economies, which create more jobs and more opportunities for Mississippi. So how are you going to get them strong and healthy?
Well, that starts with the Medicaid expansion, of course. Okay. That's a part of it. Strong and healthy also speaks to education, right? We need to ensure that every child has an opportunity at a quality education. And, when we start there, educating our people in a way about just how even government works, start educating people on making sure that they even have an opportunity to access that type of education. It starts there. And then, once you are smart about, what you know. I mean, because you have more knowledge, right? It then rolls over to your opportunities. They open up for you. And we want to ensure that not only we have a well-educated workforce, but we want a healthy workforce as it relates to their ability to carry out the job.
Do you believe in charter schools?
I do believe in charter schools. I think they have a purpose. I know our charter schools are public schools. I know that majority of the students say that these charter schools are Black kids. I also know people that work at these charter schools. I just have not seen them, I guess, live up to what we thought they would be. I think with a little more time, they're not old, but they're not new either to us. But they're only in certain areas of the state, certain parts of the district, throughout the state. And I think it's important that, again, every child has an opportunity to a quality education.
Well, Theresa Kennedy, listen, we put you through a couple little tests here this morning, I guess. No,
she did a great job.
We got to know about you, and we'll probably know some of your opponents as well as time goes by. The election is going to be November 4. So that's really creeping up fast when you think about it. It's creeping up fast on us. Well, good luck to you, and thanks for coming in, and good luck.
Thank you so much.
I hope if you get elected, you'll come back on the show. How about that?
Absolutely. I sure will.
Thanks. All right, everybody, we'll be back in just a minute. I just feel with investigations of all the shootings, 2 different shootings, mass shootings in Jackson over the weekend, right? One of them was Saturday, one of them was Sunday, I guess. Like, what the heck is going on? And the chief of police must be tearing his hair out. Just, oh, people, stop it. Just stop it. That's an easy thing to say, isn't it? But it's a terrible thing to try to corral. I don't think Jackson's on the list for the Trump administration to come down and clean out, but because I think we are on the way. I'm hoping and holding out with a great amount of hope and good wishes for the city of Jackson. I think that people express their desire. Yep, we're ready to do it. Let's get it done. And things are starting and things are going to be done. So that's that. So what else is going on in our neighborhood? Let's see. I did talk about those. Might rain, might not. The water supply for those people in those apartments. I wonder what you all know about apartment complexes around town, that they're in such bad shape that they have people who own them and don't pay their bills, and these poor people are being booted out and didn't have water for 16 days. That's 2 weeks. That's just absolutely insane. That does not need to happen in Jackson, Mississippi, or any other place, but it doesn't need to happen here. And I think that's horrible. So they did get some money to, the mayor found some money to keep these people going for a few days, anyway, 5 days. And then they have to find some other place to live. And there are different organizations and groups helping them find places to live. And we hope it turns out okay for those folks. That's a pretty terrible thing. I didn't see the story on the news, but I'm just scrolling through things here that the Department of Agriculture recently inspected the Jackson Zoo again. They found some problems regarding pests and drainage in some places. And I'm just sick about the zoo. It's going to come down. It's going to have to be some decisions before long. It's either distribute these animals, save their lives, and sell them, or give them to other zoos, or whatever, and shut the thing down, or you just either that or put some money into it. And I don't think anybody wants to put any money into it where it's located. That's been the problem. That's why the money dried up, because there was an opportunity to move to Lakeland and I-55, and I think that opportunity has passed now. Is it passed now, Lance? I think what else is going in there?
It's pretty much a no-go now.
Yeah, you can't do it if you say, "Ooh, we want to do it." Come to think of it, like the Detroit Zoo, which is one of the best in the country. It's not in Detroit. It's in a city called Royal Oak, which is it's a couple suburbs
adjacent or over.
Yeah, it's one of the suburbs, but there are people who are, well, it's the Jackson, so it has to be in Jackson. Well, not necessarily.
If Jackson doesn't want the cost of maintenance and keeping it up, then we need to look at the best solutions.
We got a lot of land. Whether it's in District 26 or wherever it is, we have a lot of land in our suburban areas. Lots of land for a zoo. But but in the meantime, this one has to limp along, and these poor animals. I just feel so sorry for them because I've seen so much stuff on TV on animal when they used to do a lot of good stuff on the Animal Planet, which is a joke now. Now they run stuff like Naked and Afraid, for God's sakes. That's not no. But they did Saturday. They had a nice. I didn't get to see much of it, but they had I did see some of the aquarium, and they ran that, and then they ran some Dr. D in Alaska, and I saw a little bit of that. But later on, I didn't get to see. But my favorite, Dr. Jeff, Rocky Mountain vet, he's fabulous. But they haven't done anything new with him for years, and I don't guess they're going to. Of course, pit bulls and parolees is that's on during from 12 to 2, I think, Tuesday through Friday. That's about it. But they haven't done the zoo per se in a while, and they've also have not done the San Diego Zoo either. But there's a heck of a lot of work that goes into maintaining these animals, and you have trainers and zookeepers who are with one particular group of animals or one animal. That's what they do. That's all they do. And these people, they run from one to one to one to the other, the other. And it's how do you keep your species apart and all this kind of stuff. And I just think that's so unfair to the animals. Do something with the zoo. We haven't gotten to that part with anybody yet, but USDA, let me see what the story says. They said improper drainage and standing water can lead to noxious odors. And this is some of the stuff they found. They observed a large rat and numerous large roaches inside the interior portions of enclosures that were housing a male eastern black and white colobus monkey and a male red-tailed monkey. Floors and lower walls were wet, and standing water around an entrance made it difficult to get into the building. I mean, that's awful. This agency noted that housing for non-human primates must be maintained so that waste and water are rapidly gotten rid of to keep animals dry and minimize pests. Well, they don't have people doing these things. Maybe they don't have the way to get rid of this stuff anyway, the water, etc. So the zoo has until September 1 to correct the issues. The inspection and the exit interview were conducted with a facility representative, according to this report. Jackson Zoo is operated by the city's Department of Parks and Recreation, holding budget workshops this week that's going to include a discussion about funding for the zoo. Well, that's a good thing. We need to know that. There's just so much that needs to be done in the city. But this, lives, they're just, you might say, well, they're just animals. But, their lives are so endangered by this neglect that's gone on for far too many years. And please do something. Do something. I think the mayor's got his hands full, but that's good.
As he said, drinking from a fire hose right now, and but that's why the folks elected him, because they believed he could find solutions to these problems. And there are quite a few. And as you said, you keep trying to knock them off one at a time.
Yep. And everybody needs to understand. I do too. I'm very impatient. I want things now. But
well, and you and I are both animal lovers too. So seeing animals suffer, seeing people suffer is a terrible thing.
That's bad enough. But you can talk to them, but you can't talk to these animals.
And
they can't tell you what's wrong.
And they depend on us.
Yes, absolutely. So. There was I don't know what happened. There was some video of an elephant that stomped a man. It ran after him and stomped him. What happened to the guy do that made the animal so mad?
I don't remember, but I did catch that Twitter X video on it, and it did not look good.
He lived, though.
Yeah. You don't want to get underneath an elephant, that's for sure.
No, but he didn't do it on. The elephant ran him down.
Yeah,
you didn't see the video? The elephant ran him down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've seen it, and elephants can be a little territorial, especially if there's a little one around.
Yes.
They're like bears and such. They are very protective of their young. And I guess coming from an area where you have ample predators trying to eat your young, you become extremely guarding, of your loved ones.
And we don't have our elephants anymore. No, that's such a shame. I remember the time one of them sneezed on Bert. It was terrible. It was terrible. I mean, we were out there for some reason. He goes, "Oh, let's look at the elephants," and we were not close to them. Well, maybe as far as 10 feet, 20 feet, whatever this distance is. And
it wasn't being,
yes.
Or he sneezed.
Yes, he sneezed, and it was more than water. But it wasn't meant to be ugly. It's just the guy. The elephant had to sneeze. We all love elephants, and they are such special animals. Well, all those animals out there are very special, except of course for alligators.
As a kid,
I don't care about alligators.
You get to see them in your backyard, right? But as a child, getting to go to the zoo and being part of your learning and respect for animals, I think that growing up with dogs and pets, hunting dogs and treating them like family, I guess that was always going to be a natural. But I do think it gave me a really great appreciation, and it also expanded my knowledge substantially about the type of animals and things that exist out there that aren't native to our country. And I find that it's kind of like the arts. You've got to invest in surrounding young people with information, knowledge, and experiences.
It's history about us.
Right.
And it's history about. By the way, the Detroit Zoo, I don't know if they still do this or not, but they had a thing called a penguinarium.
Oh, nice. I love penguins. Yeah.
I do too. They're so cool how they stand around and conduct their business in their little tuxedos. But it was a round building, and it had it was a pool on the bottom, and you'd see them swimming around. Then there was a thing in the middle where they could get up and hold their meetings or whatever it was. I always thought that's a really cool thing, but we don't have that here. I don't. Maybe they do down in New Orleans. I don't know. And I don't think that I haven't been down to our aquarium to know if we have penguins or not.
It looks beautiful. I have not been to it. I haven't gotten to the coast or north of 82 or south of McGee in a while. So, but I really would love to see the aquarium. We've had quite a few of those employees and staff and director on over the years, and it just continues to get better and better. Oh,
if you've ever seen the TV show on Animal Planet called The Aquarium, it's about the Georgia Aquarium. Oh my goodness! I mean, that's the one that they noticed that there was a piranha that had something wrong with its nose, and they had to isolate that piranha. And this is the kind of stuff they do: isolate that piranha to find out what it was, take it to a surgeon and stuff. It was non-cancerous, and they worked on it, and then put it back in the water, and you could see it. And then the next day they're working on belugas, some new belugas coming in. You have to do testing of them for their health and all this kind of stuff before they are assimilated in with the other belugas. By the way, my new little dog, my little grief therapy dog, I've taken her now 3 Sundays to a dog park.
The dog park.
Yeah, and she runs with the dog. Somebody said, "Oh, she's a runner," and she is.
She looks like it.
I thought that I got some video Sunday because I was going to brag on that.
She was
didn't.
a blur.
No, I didn't get it.
No.
I mean,
Me trying to get Hulk running.
There was like 2 seconds of it, and then that was that. And then there was the 14-minute gap in there where I had left it on. I couldn't, think you're going to run a phone much.
I can't catch my. I have to have Hulk in a field about 100 yards away for me to be able to actually get him video because he's in and out of the screen so fast. If I move it, it's just a blur.
Yeah, you have to. Well, you got to be wide. You can't zoom in on him because.
Yeah, I've got to be back.
Yeah, got to be long shots. But I was real proud of her. She does like to run, and that's very good for any animal, especially since I don't have a fenced yard. But anyhow, well, my goodness sakes. Friday, we've got I think Friday is our day when the doctor will be in. Dr. Jennifer Bryan will be with us on Friday. Many things to talk about with her. So I hope you have a good week, and maybe it'll rain, maybe it won't. And I will see you all on Friday.